Good evening, America's mayor, live in anticipation of the big infomercial. The big infomercial coming up at 9. Don't miss it. Don't go to the bathroom or you'll miss it. 18 minutes of pure joy listening to cackling Kamala and tampon Tim. Whoa! Do not be fooled, however, because it does not provide the end to the long streak of no live interviews by a presidential candidate of a leading party. This will now be the 39th day, and by tomorrow we'll be at day 40. She may never have one. This is not a live interview. It's anything but. It's an infomercial. It has several rules that we'll talk to you about later, very different than you would, but it's not a live commercial. I mean, it's not a live broadcast. Why? It's not live. It's pre-recorded. They're probably doing it right now. Probably working on the edits and the face fixing up. And they're getting rid of the bad looks. And they are going to allow the coach several tossing of the flags. So they're probably going through those, where he objected to questions or whatever. They're not allowed to ask him anything about China because it's too close to proving that he's a Chinese operative. They don't want to do that. But we'll talk about that toward the end. We're going to have a representative of the Trump campaign on, Sophia Hutchins, to talk to us about it. And tomorrow night, Donald J. Trump is going to be in Johnstown, Pennsylvania, which is only 130 miles from the site of where where a single gunman tried to kill him. Or was it a single gunman? We figured out, we don't know anything about this. We haven't figured anything out. The FBI hasn't come to any conclusions. They haven't found out anything about it. They're telling you they have great difficulty finding out about this guy. But they do know one thing, and they knew it 15 minutes after it happened. It's not a conspiracy, which tells me be very careful, because that is an absolutely irresponsible judgment. There's nobody 15 minutes or an hour or 2 hours or a day into an investigation of this complexity that can tell you it's not a conspiracy. And then you got to show me how it's not a conspiracy. What I can see, he did everything wrong. I was saying on my other show that I should get Dan Bongino on and give Dan the task of trying to list anything they did right that day. Now, when somebody does everything wrong, you want to ask, is it on purpose? Is it an accident? Is it incompetence? Was it what I call an Epstein? Stick them out there in situations of extra suspicion or risk, and give them less than adequate resources. Give them 4'2" Secret Service agents. They can't pull their gun out. You raise the possibility of gaining what you want, getting him out of the election. I mean, after all, I came to a conclusion with Bernie about a year and a half ago. They had done everything they could possibly do to get him out illegally, immorally, indecently, to the point of treason, just about. Would these people stop at murder? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I sure don't just answer it by saying, well, I just believe in them. Sorry. You take money from China, Russia, you take money from a possible murderer and a major organized criminal in Ukraine, and you're not capable of murder when you got a big motive for it. Just the prosecutor too long to rule it out just based on a crooked FBI. Now you got an organization investigating it that tried to frame him 2 or 3 times. I mean, there's no joke. They sat on the hard drive for 3 years. The FBI, no honest law enforcement agency would do that. They had a reason to do that, to destroy him. There are a lot of ways to destroy somebody. One of them is to kill him. And when I say an Epstein, what I mean is you don't actually kill him. You just make the you take advantage of the circumstances that could possibly lead to that by making sure the cameras aren't working. Cameras not working in a prison? I know that prison. You can almost hear it in that prison. It's so small. I watched it being built. I was in it. I mean, my clients were in there. My clients, the people that I got to cooperate. I go in there and get them out and put them in a nice place, and they rat their criminals out. You know, like Michael Cohen, people like that. Except Michael Cohen was lying. That's why nobody wants to use him. Except prosecutors who are crooks like him. Southern District won't use him. So Trump is going to be in Johnstown, and then he also is going to go to Butler County later, but I think he's going to go for a memorial service. I think so. So I'm sure he is. I just don't have the dates and the particulars right now. Is Fox 2 days behind us on everything, Ted?
It certainly appears that they're behind us on a lot of these things.
So they were doing the Zuckerberg's letter today.
Yeah,
that came out 2 days ago.
Yeah, we covered that Monday.
So everybody else. I mean, it's not exactly exclusive.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, they're now getting around to that. Not they'd rather not. They paid a lot of money.
They're vindicating me with the story.
They're vindicating you, and it kind of makes them look even more stupid for that literally almost $1 billion payout, right? It's like, oh shit! Can we get our money back? Wait, can we?
Something to that.
Yeah,
but
there certainly is. The
reality is that Zucker blew up the world with that, and as an article by Matt Taibbi points out today in the Post, there's a lot more to what Zuckerberg said than was covered by the crooked press. And if we had an honest press, this would be a 10-day story. I mean, basically, he admitted in about as clear a language as you can, which now should be turned into prosecutions, that there was significant pressure from Biden. And we know from Stinkin' Blinken and people like Leon Panetta, who got to interview Kathleen Camelot, which was an outrage, to have one of the 51 spies who lies, who's disgraced his service to the government by lying about a matter of such grave significance. It proves without any doubt that any of those people who were condemning us for arguing about a election fraud in 2020 have to apologize. The cover-up of the hard drive was an election fraud. The FBI had it for almost a year. The FBI had validated it left and right. And as Bannon and I and Bob Costello were struggling on our own trying to get it out, they were accusing us of being Russian operatives, threatening us, threatening senators like Johnson and Grassley, basically with being Russian operatives. And they knew it was, here's the point. The FBI knew it was untrue. The FBI conclusively knew it was untrue. That is not even disputable. And every one of those 51 spies who lied knew it was untrue. I mean, they were terrible intelligence agents. Those are the people responsible for the nuclear weapons that weren't in Iraq. Those are the people that were responsible for Benghazi. Those are responsible for the red lines of Obama and telling Obama what he wanted to hear. And those are the people that were responsible that Trump succeeded despite, but he could have probably achieved a lot more if those little creeps and rats weren't hanging around various parts of the intelligence community. And they're the creeps and rats who keep their intelligence and their The security briefing said they can make millions. Creeps and rats like Leon Panetta, who said that the hard drive had all the earmarks of a Russian disinformation. First of all, you know right on the face of it that it's a lie because they didn't suggest one single earmark. If it has all the earmarks, give me one. That it came from Delaware? That's written in English? That you can corroborate it. Oh my goodness, really? You could probably corroborate about 100 times through more than that, through the communications that it had. What do they think I am? Some kind of a chump? I don't know how to, I don't investigate much better than they do. They never accomplished what I accomplished, none of them, including Leon Panetta. What the hell did he ever do? Maybe he was around during Benghazi. I don't remember. He was a shitty Secretary of Defense for an awful president. Part of the demise of our military happened under Leon Panetta and Communist Barry. And he never said a word about it. And then he lied his ass off. And then he gets up there and introduces purportedly the next president of the United States. That's about as good a reason that she shouldn't be. She's going to rely on the same group of 51 liars. Leon the liar Panetta, name down from the Defense Department. See, they don't tell you these things. They put them on, and even Fox doesn't tell you. There's one of the guys that lied. It's conclusively proven now he was a damn liar. He interfered in an election. He defrauded the American people of critical information material to the election of a president. 20% of the American people say they would change their minds if they had known what Leon Panetta assisted in keeping from them. What does that make? It makes one rotten individual. Certainly not someone to introduce a future president. Otherwise, they want to send you a signal. They're going to do the same thing. Of course, this is a person running for president who says Afghanistan was a success. They're going to ask tonight about that. Is Dana Trump basher going to ask about that tonight? She's going to say to you and Temp on here, agree with how well that was. He just told us yesterday it was really very well done. I mean, what, very well done. What? 13 killed was like acceptable. Oh, how about the 100 Afghanis and other Americans he got killed? What about the 85 billion in arms he gave away? They're using it now. What about Bagram Air Base, 400 miles from China? Explain to me. And don't give me any of this bullshit about Russia being a big country and whatever. Tell me how giving away an air base, 400 miles from China, 500 miles from Russia, and 400 miles from Iran, that you just had put billions of dollars into making the largest runway in Asia. How's that not a disaster for us if China were to go to war with us? And won't Joe Biden and you be cursed by the American president who has to defend us if, God forbid, that happens? Now, can you admit that that was a mistake so we can be sure you don't make the same mistake again? Now, that's a question that a journalist would ask. A Dana Trump basher doesn't ask that because she stopped being a journalist somewhere along the Trump trail. But we'll see what happens. So this Zuckerberg thing has to really be looked at from the point of view of what I've mentioned. Also, maybe as significant and ongoing, maybe more significantly, the censorship that goes on ongoing basis by Democrats with the media. Now, you know, Elon Musk broke that with Twitter, and it looks like Zuckerberg is running away from it. He's not going to use his money for illegal campaign contributions this year, but he's going to get away with making 400 million in illegal campaign contributions. I mean, those are so provable. It's laughable. He put money in to help get out the vote, 90% of it in clearly overwhelming Democrat areas where a substantial amount of cheating took place, some of which is on tape. No consequences. He just gets to admit it and apologize. Well, and he does get to say he's not going to use his money this time for it, because he can look at real clear politics the way I can, and see Trump winning about 4 different ways and Kamala losing about 4 different ways. So it has to be looked at from that point of view as well. It's a tragedy that this thing comes out now and not before the Supreme Court incorrectly decided that these really messed up anti-American, communist-leaning, Chinese-leaning companies aren't in a conspiracy with the Democrat Party to censor speech. They are. And therefore, they are no longer private actors. They're acting as an agent for the Biden regime, the way private enterprises acted as agents of the communist regime or the Nazi regime or the Maduro regime. It's no different. The amount of free speech that you have in this country, I don't know, it would be a comparative matter with the other countries that ban free speech. Some have more than you have. There are things you don't get to hear if it weren't for me or people like me, or like Frank Speech or some of the others. Don't count on Fox. Just don't count on Fox. I mean, you never know how they're going to blow. During the Kamala joy thing, a couple of them were bending over backwards to kiss you know what. Somebody must have told them that. I'll go keep your job unless, how many of them have gotten that one? I know personally. I can tell you the stories chapter and verse when they're all my friends. They all abandoned me, but they were all my friends. I was on there more than anyone. I'll tell you the story on how they wouldn't be on in New York if it wasn't for me. But I can't be on anymore because I'll tell the truth. And it'll interfere with whatever messed up deals they made or whatever horrible philosophy they've now taken on. And then they go backwards and forwards on Trump, scared that he's going to be president. Scared for all the wrong reasons. And then they've got the people there. Some of them are wonderful people, but they're frightened as hell. And they're restricted. They can't tell you what they think the way I can here on Frank's Speech. They got to check it out for it, which is why maybe they're behind us sometimes. Let's see. Can we go with that story? I don't know. How's the boss going to look at it? We're going to keep our contract. I've had them crying on my shoulder about their contract being canceled. It's true. Not as bad as Zucker was at CNN, who basically wrote out what they had to say. But this isn't America when that happened. It's got to be cleaned up. It's got to be absolutely cleaned up. There's no doubt about it. We're going to take a short break and we'll be right back.
We're having the biggest sale ever on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save 60% on our Goose Down comforters, the best comforters ever. They go perfectly with our MyPillow bed sheets and duvet covers. Save 25% on our brand new kitchen towels. They're made with the same technology as our famous My Towels. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. Our seasonal flannel sheets are finally in. You save up to 50% and they sell out fast every year, so order now. They're truly the best flannel sheets you'll ever sleep on. Or save up to 80% on all our clearance items. And this is where it gets even better. For a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use that promo code to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. And for a limited time, your order ships absolutely free.
Good evening. Back again to America's Mayor Live. I said last night that I would take a better look at the situation with Telegram and Pavel, and I did. I read a little more about his background, and a little bit more about the alleged atrocities of Telegram, which do include allegations of child molesting, child pornography, other forms of crimes going about and where Telegram was being used to effectuate those crimes. What I can't tell, because I don't have the details, is, well, I mean, any one of those mediums can be used for that, right? You cannot possibly be on top of every single thing when you've got 900 million people or 900 of this or whatever. I don't know how egregious it was. Now, TikTok is over the top, really egregious, and maybe worse than that. The TikTok problem, where I disagree with Trump, is not that things happen on TikTok that shouldn't and they should prevent, because it's very, very hard at this point, at least for me, to judge how hard, or I even should say, how possible is it for them to prevent it without preventing massive amounts of legitimate free speech. We know, going back to Greek philosophy, and we can go back to the debates of our founding fathers, that you take a risk with free speech. And if you want to read the debates and the discussions of free speech, you'll see you've got to accept hate speech. You've got to expect. I mean, I remember running into this debate very, very practically at the beginning of this century when I represented the United States in Vienna on anti-Semitism, and I with a group of Republican and Democrats, some from Congress, appointed by President Bush, and it was to discuss anti-Semitism, in particular because the rise of it in France. And as I pontificated a bit, and we did, us Americans, about the anti-Semitism in particularly in France, Germany was quite critical of us because they pointed out our anti-Semitism, which to us, when we were looking at it, is anti-Semitism, but it's not actionable. It's words. They were pointing out all of the anti-Semitism speech in America. But of course, that's protected in America. Do you know in Germany, if you make, if you're a Holocaust denier, you go to jail? Well, you understand why, right? And also in some of the other European countries, it isn't quite as stringent, but there are things like that. I mean, libel and defamation at certain levels in Great Britain, it can be a crime. So the First Amendment is not necessarily a product of our Anglo-American law, like, for example, unanimous jury verdict, which Trump was deprived of. That yeoman in England under Richard the Lionheart had the benefit of, but not Trump and crooked Democrat judges New York. But free speech is, as a government protected right, the way we protect it, it was really invented by America. It comes out of Greek philosophy, Roman writings, the Renaissance, a great deal of analysis and discussion and all the usual confusion, but Americans got it right. And in order to have free speech, you have to risk bad speech. And you have to come up with the Socratic or the Oliver Wendell Holmes solution, which is we tolerate lies as free speech, and we fix it in the town square. The power of our intellect and the power of our character and the power of our conscience will overcome lies, not imprisonment. You can go another way. A civilized country can go another way. Although I think there are many of us in America that wonder if you restrict free speech, you are civilized. So that is the difference we've got going on, and the real difficulty of judging just how far did Telegram go. And because it's difficult, I guess for now, until I learn more, I'm going to end up agreeing with people who know more about it than I do, who I respect, Matt Taibbi and Elon Musk. And they both, although aware of the fact that maybe a lot of improvements have to be made internally at Telegram, the government shouldn't be involved in doing that. You see, what happens when the government is involved, the government announces, for example, If Giuliani goes on with Dr. Maria, who's an expert, puts her on, and Dr. Maria says, hey, that vaccine's not a vaccine. People who are getting it, people who take it are getting COVID. People who get the Salk polio vaccine don't get polio. You just changed our definition of vaccine. You really haven't changed our definition of woman. You just lie to us about it. But you've changed our definition of vaccine. And it isn't science, you dirty, lying, greedy rat, Fauci, to say that the vaccine will cure and prevent COVID, which you and Biden promised us. Whatever the vaccine is, before we get to side effects, and does it kill people? It doesn't give people a protection, definitely, against COVID, or 99% even. It's down to almost none now. Now, there was a period of time, if I said that I'm just about a criminal. I'd be taken off the air. I had podcasts taken off for that reason. I lost a tremendous amount of money because of that. Part of my disqualifications on YouTube when I was making a lot of money with them were because of that. Not just, now, I'm using me as an example because I can be very authoritative about it. There are people who lost a lot more than I did as a result of this. That's what happens when the government becomes the arbiter of truth. Biden got really, really close, or the true communists in his administration got really close to appointing a minister of truth, like they have in Orwell's 1984, and Congress went crazy. The person was going to decide what's true and false. And people laughed at me and made off when I said, well, what is truth? Like Pontius Pilate said. In an honest, straight, old America, we knew what truth was. We had a consensus on it. Now, it's Democrat truth that Donald Trump is going to take away Democrat rights. Meanwhile, they took him off the ballot. So who is depriving? Donald Trump doesn't have to do anything to take away democratic rights from Americans. All he's got to do is continue what Biden did, because Biden's already done it. What Donald Trump has got to do is restore democratic rights, restore the right of free speech, restore the right to run or not to run. Which brings me to a completely ignored criminal. Is Fox covering Jocelyn Benson? Do you know? Let's not accuse unless we don't know.
I have not seen it yet. Comment below. Comment below. Did Fox News today cover
Jocelyn Benson? And what is Newsmax covering it?
We'll have to check. I think I saw an article online, but I'll double check.
Well, go check.
Yeah.
Because if they're not outrageous, I'll tell you what. Jocelyn Benson is the Secretary of State of Michigan, and she is now making two decisions. One is to keep Robert F. Kennedy Jr. on the ballot, even though he wants to be off, and to take Cornel West off the ballot, although he wants to be on. And the reason is very simple, and it has nothing to do with the law. It has to do with the fact that it is the calculation of the Democratic Crooked Party of Michigan, which stinks to high heaven, right up to Witless, that if Kennedy runs, he takes votes from Trump, and if West runs, he takes votes from Cackling Kamala. That may not even be true, but that's what they think. Now, why do I know, and why am I so sure of that? I'm so sure of that because I know this scoundrel from the 2020 election. I think she destroyed ballots in the 2020 election. She sat by and she watched fraud and perjury right in front of her face and did nothing about it. And she helped mess around with the rules in order to cheat. She's already deprived Americans of their right to vote in 2020. She's already done it and tried to do it in 2024. She has a prior incident in 2024. So when people say, Oh, Giuliani, you're wrong. Alleging election fraud in 2020. I'm alleging election fraud in 2024. They're doing it already. What are you, blind? What do you think taking them off the ballot was? By a Secretary of State? Come on, you're an American. You got a bigger brain than that. When the hell did a Secretary of State ever take that the candidate of a major party off the ballot on her own, on his own? Okay, you say, well, they did that, but then it got declared illegal, unconstitutional, illegal. Don't you get rid of them? You keep those officials there who already acted outrageously? You don't need the Supreme Court to tell you that that's outrageous, that they took them off the ballot for an insurrection that never happened, was never charged, was never proved. They cheated then. When they did that, they're going to cheat again. So don't tell me the Democrats aren't getting ready to cheat when they have a Jocelyn Benson. And why are we not covering it? And why isn't the Republican Party in Michigan going crazy? Is it just Trump? What is it? You know what people told me about you when I went there to fight for our right to vote in Michigan? And the biggest problem I had with a goddamn Republican ass-lickers? I don't think you're ass-lickers. I think you're taking the scraps. That happens in New York, with crooked New York. A lot of the Republicans take the scraps of 200-year-old crooked New York. They used to take Boss Tweed's scraps. You know why I'm mayor? Because I told them, you take those scraps and shove them up your... And that's why I was able to reform the city, because I was independent. I didn't care if you contributed to me or not. I made the right decision. What the hell are you doing in government if that's not the reason you're there? You know how few we have left at the upper levels of the Democrat Party? I can't find them. The ones that are there are leaving, like Kennedy and Tulsi Gabbard. So why don't you know about Jocelyn Benson? Because we still have censorship in this country, and we have it within so-called Republican circles as well, and so-called conservative networks as well. And that's really, really damaging. This should be a big story. So should Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg proved massive conspiracy to deprive you of a right that's in the First Amendment of the United States Constitution and is critical to America existing. Without free speech, goodbye, America. No more America to pass on to your children. You know I'm not exaggerating about that. And you got to know that we have been less than ferocious in our defense of it, as well as freedom of religion, which we can talk about another time. But this Jocelyn Benson should be out. O-U-T. She should have gone out when Michigan overruled her illegal decision trying to throw Trump off in an absolutely outrageous, illegal, immoral, partisan election interference in an election that was a year away. She wants to repeat 2020, a year before 2024. She's getting ready to do it all over again. Why? Because we didn't hold them accountable the first time. Damn it! You're not going to stop them until you start putting them in jail. And they're not going to stop them until the liberal media stops the bullshit that there was no election fraud in 2020. There are 370,000 ballots missing in Georgia. On. We will never be able to tell if they use phony ballots, except I'll be able to tell. Why the hell do you think they never showed them to us? Why? If the ballots were pristine, they'd have been all over the place. All over the place. Jocelyn Benson, we're not getting off her because she could do more. Election in Michigan's close. They have no way they're going to. She's not even a Michigan candidate. She's not a Michigan candidate. She's not a Pennsylvania candidate. We've got a better chance in Pennsylvania now than we did against Biden. Pennsylvania is a tough state. They're not going to like cackling Kamala and Tampon Tim, the National Guard reservist traitor and coward. Coward. Words of his minister in his National Guard unit. Tim Walz is a coward. When battle was on the horizon, Tim Walz ran the other way. When the city was burning, his wife was smelling the smoke, like Nero. You know, I have, and I can't resist it, I have a man bites dog story. Except it was a woman. Jillian Teixeira, 24, allegedly grabbed the brown female dog. It was a pit bull, but apparently a very gentle one. Pit bulls who occasionally, get in trouble because of the way they're trained. Pit bulls are by nature, unless you train them differently, wonderfully lovable dogs. I have some good friends who are pit bulls. But, I mean, you also can have a problem if you train them. You make the dog insane. The pit bull then has the physical equipment to be more dangerous. It's like take two people. Take a guy who's, muscular, very strong boxer or extreme fighter who's 250, and some guy who's a weakling at 150, and they're both insane and they want to go out and beat people up. Who's going to do more damage? The 250 guy, right? Same thing with a pit bull. Pit bull has very strong jaws. But by nature, the pit bull was bred to be a loving family dog. And you don't mess around with the pit bull, there's no chance they're going to go on you any more than a German Shepherd or anybody else. Except they are trained more often for this. So that's why the percentages go up. But in any event, that's enough about the pit bulls. But I'm on to that, discrimination against pit bulls. I think dogs are entitled to this kind of protection because they're a hell of a lot more innocent than the people who misuse this. Jillian Teixeira, 24, allegedly grabbed the brown female dog by the ears and chopped down on her head. 6:15 Saturday on East 86th Street. This is a few blocks from where I used to live, near Lexington Avenue, according to a complaint in Manhattan Criminal Court. The cruel attack caused the poor pup. Now, they don't say how old the dog is, but they called the dog a pup. And I wish they had a picture. Sometimes they have a picture because they're so cute when you see them. The cruel attack caused the poor pup to yelp and screech loudly and bled from head and ears, the prosecutor said. Now, catch this. Teixeira admitted to biting her dog, but she offered a wild defense, Assistant District Attorney William Eddy said during Teixeira's Monday arraignment. Quote, "That's what I do. I bite my dog," close quote. Teixeira said, according to the Assistant District Attorney. Amanda Woods and Joe Marino wrote this story for the Post. Thank you. That's a very interesting story. But they say the only thing that gets to headlines is man bites dog. Well, but then they have, this is really cute. Then they have woman bites dog. We'll be back very shortly. We're going to give you a little bit on how much the Biden-Harris invasion of illegal alien criminals is costing us, and illegal aliens in general. It's a fortune. How much it's really hurting, particularly our poor people, and it's destroying our homeless population because they're preferred to our homeless population in most of the left-wing crooked Democratic cities. And then we're going to have a representative of the Trump campaign come on so we can discuss what's happening tonight, both what Trump is doing, but in this particular case, we got a big infomercial tonight, and we got to really spend some time on it because it's going to be fleeting. It's going to be 18 minutes. with the coach and Kathleen Kamala. We'll be right back. Delivers on its promise to do good and never forget the sacrifices America's greatest heroes have made for us. Heroes who risked their lives to keep our communities and our country safe. Heroes like United States Marine Corps Captain and pilot John Jeremy Sachs. Captain Sachs sustained fatal injuries when his military aircraft crashed during training, killing him and 5 other service members. He's remembered by loved ones as courageous, brilliant, and devoted to his career, family, and friends. John is survived by his wife, Amber, who gave birth to their second daughter 3 months after his death. Tunnel to Towers paid the mortgage on the family home for Amber and their 2 daughters. The foundation has helped over 1,000 military and first responder families navigate the worst of times by removing the burden of a mortgage payment. Our nation's heroes and their families need your help now more than ever. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. T2T.org. That's T, the number 2T.org. T2T.org. Please donate now. Rudy Giuliani back on America Mayor Live. And tonight, President Trump is having not a town hall meeting, but not a rally, but a town hall meeting in La Crosse, Wisconsin, which again is a big swing state. And tomorrow he's going to be in Johnstown, Pennsylvania, not far from Butler County, where he will be later in the year. And we have on now, do we?
We have her on.
We have on now Sophia Hutchins, who is a surrogate for the Trump campaign. Sophia, how are you?
Hey guys, doing well. Thank you, Mayor, for having me on. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Oh, not at all. It's a pleasure to have you on. So we would like to get your views on the famous infomercial that's coming up that if we close our eyes, we're going to miss. It's apparently going to be 18 minutes. So what do you think of this?
Well, first of all, I'm counting down the minutes to watch this. I saw some of the teasers and some of the clips that were released online. What a joke. I mean,
It's already been taped, right?
Yeah, it's of course it was pre-taped. I said earlier this week, I've been in reality TV for years. I've been in entertainment for years. I've seen these interviews
And you're great.
taped and pre-taped, and the cut that Dana gave, I wanted to give Dana a little bit more credit. I don't know why. I mean, just come on. And she has her security blanket, Tim Walz, there with her. How pathetic, especially for the woman president, the female candidate, the strong prosecutor that she brands herself as. And she's got her security blanket on top of the pre-tape, on top of CNN. I mean, give me a break.
Sophia, there are more than a few women have expressed what you were saying. I'm a little uncomfortable saying it because I'm not even sure if I understand it as well. But I had a few on last night, and a couple talked to me today saying they're very upset that she's got to hold a man's hand.
We don't. That's not what the election is about ultimately. But when you're looking for a female candidate, I think the females need to work. Women need to work overtime to show, that they are as strong, and especially somebody as unproven, untested as Kamala has been. She's always, she's a lifelong career politician. Why is it that your first interview in 37, 38, 39 days of being the anointed one by the party, you've got to not only be coddled by Dana, but have your running mate there? Monica Crowley put out a great tweet, and her and I talked about it on social media. And I just thought, not just is it a position of weakness as the potential leader of the free world, which of course I believe she's going to lose, but especially as
when you said that, I got like a funny feeling.
Yeah, I get it. It just doesn't project strength, period, male or female. But I think that it was just such a poor choice on her part. But that's indicative of her campaign.
Yeah. So let's play a game let's make believe she's a man. okay, or a nothing, a man. Suppose it were me. I'm running for president. Roger Ailes was my campaign manager, believe it or not, when I ran for mayor. Suppose I said I have to have Roger with me. They'd have laughed me off the stage. They'd have said, "You can't be mayor. You can't be mayor. I will not be interviewed unless Roger Ailes is sitting next to me."
And by the way, you're already getting all the coverage that you need from the network. You know, you're going on the friendliest network with one of the friendliest, lefty interviewers. I mean, it couldn't have projected a more pathetic, weak entrance into the media landscape as your first interview. So, we can put the woman thing aside, but I think that's just another
Woman, man.
critique.
So I actually think, let me play psychiatrist for a minute. The person is intellectually insecure. That's why she needs the coach. That's why she needs the notes. That's why she wants to keep it to 18 minutes. That's why it's pre-recorded.
And
that's why she wants to sit down. That's why she wants to close mic. This has all come from a person who failed the bar exam.
She has been a lifelong prosecutor. She's not used to answering questions, right?
Failed the bar exam.
She's used to, and of course she failed the bar exam. She's very insecure. She's totally out of her comfort zone. She's a failure in general, but she's a career prosecutor. She's not used to answering questions. She's used to asking questions. So she's totally out of her comfort zone. She could not have projected a weaker image. And I think the American people see that. I think the contrast could not be starker. You see President Trump out there every day, not just giving hour and a half long rallies.
He's not afraid of anything.
He's not afraid of anyone.
But doesn't our president have to be not afraid of anyone to lead our country at a time in which we're being mortally challenged?
The world and the world leaders that she, will be required to negotiate with, speak with, they're watching that just cackling, laughing away, watching Kamala like, oh my God, this is going to be easier to sit down and negotiate anything with her than it was with Joe. And I don't even think Joe was awake in most of his international or foreign meetings with foreign leaders. And so I think they're watching Kamala and they're thinking, oh, this is great for us. Let's get behind this. We're going to get whatever we want. The contrast is just so stark.
It is. It really is. I don't understand it except for the fact that she's got that enormously powerful elite media behind her, which just completely lies for her. And then she's got Dana. I mean, Dana, I know really well. I would have considered her a friend until the last couple of years, in which she's become like a perennial Trump basher.
Yeah,
I call her Dana Trump bash.
I've had Dana at my house. I've known Dana for years. Like I said, I wanted to give her a little bit more credit. I wish I was right, but we're still waiting for the interview to come out. I think we've got like 12.
Well, we'll see.
But I'm not holding my breath, Mr. Mayor.
Well, thank you very, very much. It was an excellent interview. We'll have you on with your reaction to it next week sometime. See what you think, okay?
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Sophia. And we'll take a short break, and we'll be right back.
We're having the biggest sale ever on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save 60% on our Goose Down comforters, the best comforters ever. They go perfectly with our MyPillow bed sheets and duvet covers. Save 25% on our brand new kitchen towels. They're made with the same technology as our famous My Towels. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. Our seasonal flannel sheets are finally in. You save up to 50% and they sell out fast every year, so order now. They're truly the best flannel sheets you'll ever sleep on. Or save up to 80% on all our clearance items. And this is where it gets even better. For a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use that promo code to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. And for a limited time, your order ships absolutely free.
And we're back.
This is Rudy Giuliani back with America's Mayor Live. And what I wanted to do as we lead up to the infomercial is, first of all, remind you that this does not in any way qualify as a live interview, which he hasn't done in 39 days. And as I said, tomorrow it'll be 40, and we'll keep hounding her until she does one. I just don't think there's any chance the American people are going to vote for you until you sit down live, no notes, no coach, no questions in advance, like whoever who was that cheated with Hillary. She became. They put her on Fox after she cheated.
Oh, with Bill, was that with Hillary, or was that
with Hillary? She gave Hillary
not Candy Crowley. That was Obama.
That was with Obama.
Kristen Welker.
No, not God forbid. No, Kristen Welker is actually an ethical person. I don't see Kristen Welker doing what Dana Bash Trump would do. Trump Bash would do.
I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it.
But in any event, you should know that the unbelievable migrant invasion, alien invasion, and you're entitled to call them aliens because that's the word in the statute, and there's no reason to be euphemistic, particularly about this group of aliens who are, without any doubt, have to be presumed to be substantially criminal because we don't know what they are. And we do know for sure that countries like Venezuela are emptying themselves of criminals and prisoners. Crime is way down in Venezuela. And every second or third one here who's raping somebody, shooting somebody, killing somebody, robbing somebody is from Venezuela. Trans-Nicaragua gang has become a major group in almost every city in America in just 2 years. But we've got millions coming in. I didn't say hundreds. I didn't say thousands. I said millions. We used to vet them. Yes, they came in, but a lot of them were put in jail and not allowed in. He did complete catch and release. People were let out. Here we got loads of criminals. We have the records of them because there was no room in detention, but there was nobody in detention. They lie about everything. Their purpose is to do the best they can to destroy the system in America. So we'll be part of one world. We'll be, as Wall says, socialist, and we'll be communist. That's why people say, well, why would Soros put prosecutors in all these cities? And they let all the criminals out. And then many of them, if not all of them, have set records for homicide. Like take Philadelphia, 2 years in a row, records for homicide. Disproportionately black people. Same thing in Chicago, disproportionately black people. They're slaughtering black young people. Why are they doing that? Why are they causing that kind of chaos? Who would want to do that? Someone who wants a revolution. Someone who wants to create the basis that you hate your country and you want to change it. That's why they burn statues. That's why they malign our founding fathers and pick out the few bad things about them and all the wonderful things about them. That's why they go to our history and pick out the few bad things about our history. We had slavery. We also had hundreds of thousands of white men dying to free slaves. Why don't you point that out? This isn't an intellectual debate. This is about a communist program envisioned originally by even the predecessors of Karl Marx, the Hegelian philosophers, and then carried forward by modern communists who have varied it in a lot of ways, but it has the same basic stepping stones to communism. And some of them you're watching happen right in front of your eyes. Brainwashed the students, Walls, goes off to China. Trained by China, comes back, goes back 30 times with students and says things that are communist propaganda, like socialism is like neighborliness. That's complete communist propaganda. Either this man is too stupid to be a governor, possible, he let a city burn, way too stupid to be vice president. We just had a stupid vice president. Or he's a communist. In either case, get the hell away from the White House. My God, we don't need you. So in a few minutes, you're going to be able to watch the quick, very fast infomercial. We'll see if we gain anything from it. And if we think it's worth it, when it's over, you just put on X and you may find us. Okay, I'm saying a couple of words about it. It'll be quick because it's getting late, but it might be too much not to comment on it. I wasn't going to say fun because there's nothing funny about this, but I do admit there are times when she cackles and there are times in which she puts together sentences and I can't but laugh like I used to do with Biden, when he would say absolutely moronic things, I'm thinking he was in Colombia when he was in China or something, Well, we're going to sign off a little early so you can get ready to watch it. And then it's supposed to be over in 18 to 20 minutes. So we'll just keep our stuff up and we'll see what happens. All right, Ted? What do you think?
Yeah. Let's see how this goes.
All right. Well, pray for the people of Israel and pray for the people of America. Pray for the people of Ukraine. And God grant us wisdom, the American people. You have made us the leaders of the world. Because if somebody else leads it, we're going in a direction very different than you. So give us the strength. God bless America.
All of you, you are leaders. By the very fact that you all are here in this room, doing what you do at this incredible school, doing it as one big team, understanding all of the different parts that fit together to create a team.
Bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to talk, we're able to analyze,